The reason I tell you this is because that affected me so badly that I started eating just salads. And then I started popping, what are those pills? Those Dexatrim pills. And before I knew it, my mother was like, "Girl, what's wrong with you?" I lost all the muscle tone in my body. I was skinny as a rail. And my family thought I was sickly. I was almost on the verge of becoming anorexic or bulimic. That's the opposite of what you see these girls going through, but that's just as dangerous. So don't ever make your kids feel like weight is so important that they go on the opposite end. As a health reporter at Channel 7, I've done a lot of stories on young girls starving themselves to death because someone said, "You're a little overweight," or "Your behind's too big." So the one thing I talk to kids about when I see them out, when you're at home, the whole family has to take weight seriously. If you have one child who's really overweight, the whole family has to get involved in the program to help that child. Meaning, everybody else can't sit up in front of that child, eat potato chips and eat ice cream, and you can't have all of those goodies around and expect that one child not to take part or not to indulge and that sort of thing. The whole family has to do it. So in my household, I don't buy a lot of potato chips. I don't buy a lot of cookies. I don't buy a lot of ice cream. I don't buy all of those goodies. I'm not saying that I don't let my kids indulge. At the same time, I don't have a lot of extra. You know what I mean? I don't let them drink a lot of Pepsi and pop and all that good stuff that'll add all of those calories onto you. I'm going to talk about a few statistics here about weight and how it's affecting us. First of all, you know that Detroit, or maybe you don't know, Detroit is the fattest city in the country right now. That means we're eating a whole lot of stuff. All you have to do is go in the city of Detroit. Every corner we got a Kentucky Fried Chicken, a McDonald's, a Burger King, all that stuff that we don't need to eat. And I know growing up, I didn't know that was bad for us. I didn't know fried chicken and fried pork chops and all that gravy and all that stuff was affecting our health so bad. Also, between 16 to 33% of our young people are obese in the country right now, and it's because of just what I'm talking about. Mainly the way we eat, not exercising. Of course, some of it has to do with self-esteem, a family history. Like I told you, I'm one of 9, and the majority of us are overweight, but it's mainly because of the way we eat and because we don't exercise. Now, if you have young people at home, what I tell my kids, number one, it's really important to get kids moving early. If you have young kids at home, get them in track, get them in baseball, get them in cheerleading, get them in dance, get them in some kind of activity that's fun, so exercise is not a chore. It can be fun. I told you I was a cheerleader, I was a dancer, I ran track, I did all of that stuff. Had I not done that, I know I would have been overweight because of the way I ate. I ate so much, and I was still really stocky in high school. Another thing I tell young people, and I'm sure Sharon talks to her girls about this all the time, and even if you're an adult, all you have to do is move a little bit, 30 minutes a day. If you have young kids who love watching BET, just have them get up and dance around the room for 30 minutes a day. You know what I mean? It's not that difficult. And then when it comes to cooking in your house, if you're frying that chicken, stop frying that chicken so much. Maybe fry chicken once a week. Bake chicken the rest of the time. Don't put so much gravy on it. Leave the gravy off. Stop frying your food and bake your food or roast your food so it's a little healthier. Make sure your kids are getting salad and vegetables, something that my kids struggle with. I have 3 kids at home, and Lord, it's a chore trying to get them to eat some vegetables, but it's something that they just have to do. I mean, no matter what. Now, one thing that Sharon stresses, and I'll tell everybody in this room, and I hear it over and over again, when you see people like Oprah Winfrey on television or Cameron Manheim. Do you all know who that is? She's the woman who stars on The Practice, the heavy woman who, when she won the Emmy, she stood up there and she said, "This one's for the big girls." What I stress to young people, what I stress to my daughter, what I stress to my nieces, what I stress to my sister, love yourself the way you are today, especially for African American women. We have big behinds. Love your big behind. I just did a story on plastic surgery. And a black plastic surgeon in Farmington Hills told me one of the hottest plastic surgery things to get right now is our butt implants. There are women coming in actually asking for J-Lo behinds and Beyonce behinds, and I know that may sound a little crazy, but they're looking for our behinds. So hey, I mean, I'm serious. Women are willing to pay $3,000 to get a butt implant. I know it sounds crazy. So the reason I say that is because if you have bigger boobs and if you have a bigger behind, I say love it. I'm not saying not to lose weight. I'm not saying not to firm up or whatever, but I am not saying to stress over it. I'm saying love yourself the way you are right now. If you're big and beautiful, love that you're big and beautiful. I love my mother. I know she loves the way she looks, and I love her for it. And that's just how I feel. We as black women, we're not going to be teeny weeny. We're not going to be skinny minis, because that's just not how we're made. And I don't think our men want us that way. Anyway, I can't. That's right. He's co-signing on that. So again, look at people like Oprah Winfrey, Cameron Manheim, or even look at Star Jones. Star Jones, I mean, she is big, she's beautiful, she's sexy, and she shows it every day on national television, and she's not afraid to talk about it, and she's not afraid to shine. So when I see these young girls come out here shining with all of that self-esteem and being positive, I just say, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. One other thing I'm going to say, someone once told me, and it stuck in my head, and they said, beauty fades, but dumb is forever. You know, beauty fades, that'll go. But if these young people that are standing before you don't get a good education, if they don't have a good role model, whether it's your mother, your grandmother, an aunt, a sister, a teacher, doesn't matter, if they don't have a good role model to follow, what are they going to do? So I say, stress to them, have a good education, have a role model, have a goal, and have a dream. I know it was my goal to go to college, to get a good education, and to become a journalist, and it took me 10 long years to make it home. It wasn't an easy thing to do. I had to go around to 5 different markets and move and move and move and move. And I'm not going to say that I always got all A's in school. I struggled just like everybody else. Luckily, I got through Michigan State University. Luckily, I made it to Channel 7, the station that I grew up watching as a young kid. It was my dream to be more like someone like, say, Halle Berry in Hollywood, to be on stage. I didn't quite make that dream, but when I talk to young kids, I tell them, if you want to be that next rapper, if you want to be that next Halle Berry, or whatever, keep that dream in your back pocket. Work for that dream, but have a goal and make sure you get a good education first, because if you don't become that Halle Berry, if you don't become that next rapper, if you don't become that next singer, you always have your education to fall back on. So, get a good education, love yourself, don't forget that goal, that dream, and I just know, I just have no doubt that everybody sitting in front of me, young or old, can achieve. Thank you.
Let's give her another hand. I'm going to get a little, I'm going to do a tune for you. When I was first asked to work with the young ladies, I was just really thrilled with Sharon, because I've been knowing Sharon for a long time. Actually, I was in her very first pageant. And I tell her that, you know, it was nothing but God that put us together, because my self-esteem at the time was so low. And each time Sharon had something to do, she would call me and she said, Deborah, I want you to sing. Oh, no. And I'd be like, oh, Sharon. And sometimes we'd be in an environment just like this, and she said, oh, and my friend Deborah Burson, come on, sing. Oh, Lord. But each time she did that, it gave me a little bit more confidence and a little bit more confidence. And then, you know, it wasn't so bad after the first, after the second. And she even, at one point, became my manager. And I was like, I got a manager. And my manager took me to New York. And I came, when I went to New York, we got out of the cab, and I looked on the marquee, and the marquee said, Deborah Birdsong. I was like, oh my God.